In this guide, I'll show you how to create dependencies between tasks in a project using the Gantt chart. Dependencies are very useful because they keep your schedule realistic and consistent. They show the order in which work needs to be done, make it clear how a delay in one task affects the rest of the project, and help you avoid missing deadlines. In other words, dependencies connect your tasks so your project plan reflects the real workflow. You can create different types of dependencies: start to start, start to finish, finish to start, and finish to finish. The most common type is finish to start. That means one task cannot begin until the previous one has been completed. To create a dependency, I simply drag an arrow from the predecessor task to the task that depends on it and drop it. It's important to avoid creating dependencies on parent tasks. Instead, always connect them to the lowest level subtasks. For example, instead of linking to task C, I'll link from task B to task C1. A single task can also depend on several others. Here, task C2 depends both on task C1 and on task D, so I'll create one dependency from the end of task C1 to the start of task C2, and another from the end of task D to the start of task C2. We can also make task E dependent on task C2. I'll drag from task C2 to task E, and Starbrix places it correctly, so task E starts right after task C2 finishes. Notice how dependencies affect the schedule. If task A is delayed by one day, I'll move its end to Thursday. Now you can see the impact on the following tasks. They also shift by one day. Some gaps may appear, but those are allowed unless the dependency is strict. You can also add a lag to a dependency. For example, I'll right-click the dependency arrow, select Change Dependency Lag, and add 2 days. Now task C1 will start 2 days after its predecessor ends. This is useful if you need a planned gap between tasks. By default, dependencies are strict. But once a task is completed, its dependency no longer blocks the following tasks. For example, if I mark this task as completed, I can move the next task freely, while all other dependencies remain in place. Finally, I'd like to add that a task can also be a predecessor to several other tasks at the same time. For example, task G here has an impact both on task F and on task H, so one task can influence multiple other tasks through its dependencies. That's how you create and manage dependencies between tasks in a Starbrix project.